How are you doing, man?
Good, sir. How are you?
Welcome to the stream, and thanks for being one of our first uh, guests on the show. Uh,
You can always say that I'm the first one to try on
uh,
Polygon.
no, I think you're pretty close to the being one of the honored guests on this stream. So thank you for joining, and there is a lot of excitement around the work you have been doing, and you're one of the quiet ones, as in I've been for the last 2 3 years one of the loud ones, as in I'm quite active on social, and but you're one of the doers. So you've been busy building a lot of different things that I think some of us know about, but a lot of people have never heard of. And yeah, so today I think we want to change that, and start kind of talking about all the cool things you've been doing in the fintech, payments, stable coins, and real world assets. So what exactly do you do at Polygon?
I manage three things right now. One is basically I lead all the payment ecosystem. So payments, tokenization, and all the exchange relations. These are three verticals that I take care of.
That's a lot of different things. I think your mic is a bit. Is it the fan or something? But I hear a bit of noise. Uh, yeah, and you have a very nice virtual swimming pool. So yeah, so you look after a lot of different things, but I think today we're going to focus on especially stablecoins, payments, and tokenization. You guys recently made a really big announcement. I think that pleasantly surprised a lot of us. John Egan joining from Stripe. Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, with all the Stripe chain announcement and everything, we're going to talk about John a bit later. But that was so. What brought John to give us the sauce first, right? What brought John to Polygon? He could have done a bunch of different things. Started his own blockchain. So what's he doing at Polygon?
I think a couple of things that happened over the past 2 3 months. So we have been like starting to kind of go out and strategize on what we want to focus more on, and like this short answer is that I think like we needed someone like that to actually go out and help us in the product side, where like there was a big requirement on how to, apart from the infrastructure layer, how we can actually go out and also get into the application layer and help out the entire payments ecosystem that is building on Polygon. So that was like the motive. We wanted to hire someone very strong, and John happened to be like our amazing. So I think we found out John.
Yeah, right. But I think the more interesting question is what's in it for John, as in, what's going on at Polygon that would. Now, I might know the answer to some of these things, but, maybe not, right? So, what's going on at Polygon that got John so excited? Tell us more about what's going on with payments and stable coins and on Polygon. What do the numbers look like? What are the sort of things you guys are doing?
Absolutely. I think then I'll have to start a little bit more earlier. Like I think earlier this year, when we
Yeah.
looked at Polygon, everyone was like, "Oh, what is like Polygon is doing everything." So we don't know what exactly is Polygon. There, like someone is launching chains on Polygon, someone is talking about aggregating different chains, and then someone is talking about payments. Then there's someone coming in and saying gaming is the best on Polygon, NFTs are the best on Polygon. So I think like kind of like the market thought process of what Polygon does like was very much mixed and also confusing. So that's where, like, I think earlier this year we started kind of digging into the data that actually was happening on Polygon. So when we started that, we looked at every 1 in 2 transactions was actually involving a stablecoin. So it could be trading, it could also be like movement of money, it could be peer-to-peer transactions. Then the second thing that we looked at is was like there is a lot of peer-to-peer transaction happening on Polygon. So when
Right.
we look at global Venmo, like when we look at Venmo is more P2P. So similarly, like this was becoming like a more global kind of a situation where people were across the world trying to send money. So that is where like we felt that okay, like this is something where the market is helping us and we should double down. I think the first thing we did is like we started doubling down on what are different priorities. The first thing that we did is like hire like a like system for that. Like earlier payments was done by like two people majorly at Polygon. Manan, who used to be at the bank. And then we were like, okay, we need a lot more.
Right. Yeah, your
So
sound is breaking a bit. I think it's the mic. So I made a bunch of money streaming on Pump Fun on day one. Like I think
okay.
I made like 12K on the first day, and I bought a bunch of cool equipment because I love to buy electronics. I strongly recommend doing that. so, so everything you see, like the mic and everything. Okay, that aside. So
Yeah.
everyone thinks of Polygon. Polygon were kings 3 years ago or 2 years ago. There are some memes about it, and people quote Sandeep as Sandeep's tweets about how no one needs Solana and Avalanche and whatnot from those days, and I think so. The what surprised me about I think the kind of things you've been talking about is that the metrics, there's quite a bit of traction. So people think of Polygon as, oh yeah, look, Starbucks happened, but nothing really happened, or there was not a lot of volume, or Disney happened. Sure, great marketing announcement. I think at some point Polygon got a bit of a name for making a lot of announcements, right? And Sandeep is a legendary, BD. I think he's the king of BD from what I remember. And but now I think people don't realize that there's a lot of people using Polygon, right? The past chain. So what's going on over there, and what do the numbers look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from a perspective of like if you look at the numbers, we added like $1 billion of stable coins on Polygon in the last couple of months. Then the second thing that happened is like if you look at non-USD volumes, we capture more than 60% of the total forex market outside of US dollars across the entire EVM ecosystem and non-EVM ecosystem. So that is where like we are seeing a lot of regional currencies coming on chain, where we have been like helping a lot of these currencies come in. Like Philippines peso is set up, Indonesian rupiah is set up, Singapore dollar is actually the second highest traded currency on Polygon apart from US dollars. So it's not euro, it's Singapore dollars. So and like then we just started like Mexican pesos, Colombian pesos, Brazilian real. Like Brazil, there are five stable coins, four are on Polygon. 80% of that, 70-80% of that volume is on Polygon. So I think that is where like we're finding more product market fit on the numbers of forex. We on the micropayment side, it's more like almost 40-45% of the total micropayments, less than $100 are happening on Polygon. So that is there. So the retail, there's a massive retail use case, which it's not like something like where a lot of people are actually using Polygon in a day-to-day life. So if you go to
Right.
Brazil, 10% of the total transactions on Polygon come from Brazil because they are integrated to Pix network. Then if you go to Argentina, a lot of cities are actually using Polygon to do the transactions. City of Lugano, after Bitcoin, the second chain that they use is Polygon. So that's where like a lot of people actually using it. And it's not like any like there's no incentive. They have been using it for a long time. They don't see any problems there. And also like there are a couple of other chains like Tron where the gas fees increased. So a lot of people also started using
Yeah.
it. So Polygon was
Yeah.
one.
So I mean, look. So what's crazy about all this is, right. So I hear so much noise about Plasma and all these new tokens, right? Stable just launched STBL. Avatar, a friend of mine, just launched that one.
Yeah.
And apparently there was some Tether co-founder who was involved in it for a week. So there's a lot of everyone like Agora USD is coming online. I was making a joke on Twitter that if I had $1 for every stable coin that's launching, I would have $1 million. So I don't think it's a joke really, but I don't hear as much about Polygon. So you guys have a lot of real traction, right? Like I mean, I can actually like point at people who use Polygon for payments, right? Who use the Polygon POS chain or through the apps. Obviously, they may not be seeing the chain, but I can see a lot. I can see that a lot of people use Tron, right? So there are some chains I can point at that actually have usage, and but I don't hear as much noise about Polygon. So what's the plan to fix that?
I think the noise is not there because like we have been kind of like now more focused towards like you said earlier as well. Like Polygon was always known as okay, they do the big announcements and then nothing comes out of it. So what we have kind of taken that as a
Right. So you said okay, we're gonna do big things, but no announcements. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So you might have gone a little bit too far on the other side. So please make some announcements. And
Yes.
it's the whole stablecoin conversation is so dominated by US dollar stablecoins. Everyone thinks that payments and stablecoins it's all a US dollar story. But I think what I heard from you is that it's not just US dollars. I mean,
It's not.
Brazil. What else?
So basically, like if you look at the payments world, there are like almost $7 trillion move on an average every day. There are three categories of these payments. 1/3 of it is insured payments, which is through the Swift network. So when you're making the payment, there's a guarantee that you will get the counterparty, like counter on the other side of the money. Then there is PVP, which is like the Uniswap of the world, like you're paying from one side and on the other hand, the other transaction is getting triggered. 19 currencies are there, which effectively make the 66%. And then there are more than 78 currencies, which effectively are like 1/3, which is $2.2 trillion, which is not insured, which is not connected to the world, which is not accepted by Swift. And effectively, that is where the biggest potential is. So, US dollar, like people, when people want to move money between US dollar, yeah, there is some friction, but it is solvable. But like if you look at that global scenario, that is much different. Where someone like imagine Netflix. So Netflix is in 120 countries. Now they are
Mm-hmm.
collecting in 120 currencies, and what they have to do
Mm-hmm.
is they have to bring that money to US. Today, what they do
Right.
is by the time, so it is very costly for them, even for them to bring the money. They lose a lot of money to the losing power. What
Mm-hmm.
all digital currencies are giving is a way for them to on ramp and immediately convert to US dollars so that the US dollars can come to US. But effectively, the rails are like non. There will be a bigger non-US rail than US rail being like
Wow.
coordinated by.
Wow, this is something new I have learned, because I also think of this whole conversation in terms of, okay, if non-US people holding US dollars, or using US dollars in for international payments between Nigeria and China corridor, for example. It started with Paxful using and Bitcoin, then it went to, okay, we tried a bunch of other things. I was a consultant for Paxful for a couple of months, for 3 months, and then finally Tether happened, and Tether just blew up on the platform, and Bitcoin utilization kind of went down and down. So that was pretty clear even back in 2019 that or 20 that stable coins were going to happen, but I hadn't really thought about regional stable coins, because euro, I lived in England for a while, and then we never really saw any traction on. Stani has pushed on Aave URC very hard. Circle has been experimenting with it, but there were negative interest rates, and stable coin issuers didn't make any money. So kind of.
So I can
Huh?
give you returns. I can give you returns on your euro if it is on chain.
Yeah.
How I can do that is I can bring euro on chain, put it on Aave or Morpho, use it as a
Yeah.
collateral, US dollars,
Mm.
get invest that US dollars to generate like 8 to 10%, pay the borrow rate, and then I still being
Okay,
left with
wait. So
5%.
I deposit euro in Aave, right? URC. But who wants to borrow that
And borrow.
URC? I mean, I need someone to borrow.
No, but
No one wants to borrow. But so I
so
deposit
effectively
URC and I borrow
euro,
US dollars.
correct.
Okay.
So
So
you
I make
deposit
money on euro
EURC.
by lending it, and then I make money on dollar by lending it, by borrowing it. But
You don't
then
make
there has to be another
lending
side
it.
to the euro, right?
That's what I'm saying. So you don't make money by lending euro. You make money by, so you lend the euro, against that it is used as a collateral. You borrow US dollars.
Okay.
Now you use these US dollars in and invest it into places where it is generating yield.
Right.
So what you can do, like, if you're able to generate like 12%, you pay 5% or 6% back in the Aave market, where like the borrowing rate of USDC is 6%, and then you have made an additional 6%. So you can now actually give a 6% yield on euro without putting anything from your pocket.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So then Brazil. Which are the? Give me the top 5 geographies where you see non-US dollar stablecoin adoption kind of accelerating.
So Singapore has been the biggest
Oh
one
yeah.
for us, at least.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, the third one is like we are just starting Indonesian rupiah. The demand for that is over like per day is like around $5 million to $10 million a day in swaps. Then you have Philippines peso, which is already doing like a lot of volume on Polygon.
Mm-hmm.
Then Brazilian reals is like the third biggest one, and fourth is like Colombian pesos. We are also going live with Argentinian pesos, because effectively the election is coming in, and because elections are coming in, the fluctuations in the currency there in Argentinian pesos would be much higher.
Right.
So a lot of people would actually come out and try to get in and out as soon as like they are getting Argentinian
I
pesos.
see. This is another angle. So you kind of, I think I saw something from Leshner or someone else about how stablecoin FX trading on stablecoins is much more efficient than stable FX trading through, as long as obviously we adjust for almost gas fees, and obviously Polygon is a very low cost chain. I mean, FX trading seems to have lower spreads in certain pairs on chain than off chain.
I mean, I would have a contrarian view on this one, where I would always say that there is a very remote chance until you see a retail. Like retail always gets sucked in. So
Retail always gets hosed by the Royal Bank of Scotland, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're a big company who is doing like transactions, so you will always get off-chain rates better than on-chain. But that is the beauty about it.
Right,
Like when people go out and say that you get like better rates, the answer is not better rates, but the overall ecosystem that they're getting is much more
But I
efficient.
get robbed. I get robbed at airports, right? So, and on credit card payments abroad, and I travel so much, it's really hard to tell what I'm paying. I don't even look at it anymore. But that's a bull market thing. In bear market, I'm sure I'll look at it. So, so I guess for small amounts for retail transactions, right. So are there is there a common set of factors that's driving non-US dollar stablecoin adoption on Polygon, or is it like
It's a-
different geographic specific?
So it's basically like efficiency, which is measured. So the biggest thing is, like I was saying, I'm contrarian to the point where like a lot of people are saying FX the rates would be better on chain rather than off chain.
Mhm.
Like the US euro pair is so liquid off chain
Yeah.
that there is no chance ever that you will get a better rate on chain.
Okay.
But when you look at it from a treasury management perspective or a cross-border management perspective, let's say someone wants to send money from, let's say, India to Mexico.
Mhm.
Now, for this, using SWIFT, first they have to convert the INR into dollars, because INR is not accepted by SWIFT even till today. So you have to first convert it into dollars, so you lose something there. Then from the dollars, you convert it into Mexican peso. So there are two swaps. One, that is the first problem. The second problem is this whole cycle takes 2 to 3 days, which means your Mexican peso, if you're converted into Mexican pesos, your Mexican pesos are always fluctuating. So you don't know till the time you actually receive them in the bank
Right.
how much money you are receiving.
Yeah.
And the third problem, for this you have to hedge. So there are three costs when you do cross-border
Wow.
trading. While when you on-chain, the benefit is when you want to do it, let's say there's an Indian INR stablecoin and there's a Mexican stablecoin, you immediately switch over.
Yeah.
You keep the money in INR
Yeah.
and generate yields on
Right.
that.
Right. But your settlement is pretty instant, right? I mean, yeah.
So when you're the settlement, take that money out, instantly convert it into Mexican pesos and off ramp.
That's
So
right.
there is no forex.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you kind of take a lot of uncertainty out of this transaction. Okay. So Singapore, I think the government has been very favorable. I think MAS has been encouraging sandboxes and experiments for a few years. We've been connected with Mr. Nandi and his team for a while. Finally, but where are the transactions coming from? Because no one really likes to use a blockchain, right? I mean, I like to use it because I spend time in Telegram all day. But retail users,
Nobody knows that.
nobody wants to know what that is, right? So how does this work in Singapore? Which apps are driving this type of utilization?
The biggest thing about so Singapore, like I think Grab, like you can actually go out and on ramp Singapore dollars on Grab on Polygon, and like you on a daily basis to do whatever you want to do.
So Grab is using Polygon rails underneath.
Yeah. One of the blockchains is Polygon. Okay. So you can actually on ramp on you're going on in token, and during token just download the Grab app.
Yeah, I use it.
On ramp money on Polygon.
Yeah.
Use it wherever you want.
So within the Grab app there is a Polygon wallet, and okay, I got a bunch of cash lying around on Polygon. That's pretty cool. So okay. I don't want to use my credit card anyways. It's a pain in the ass, and then I have to pay, credit card fees and some weird fees that shows up that I don't know about, and I have to pay FX and all that. So I can just buy SGD stablecoin. What is it called?
XSGD.
Oh, okay, XSGD before I go there. Put it in my Polygon wallet. Connect my Polygon wallet to my Grab app. Oh my God, that's what the hell I've been doing all these years. Okay, so token 2049. I'll finally use token, and that's the Singapore dollar stablecoin, right? So I think that puts the token back in token 2049. Amazing.
Correct.
Right. I hate credit card shit, and half the time it doesn't work, right? So my credit card gets declined, and oh God, and there is some like anti-fraud thing going on, and it's like, hey, how did you show up in Singapore? You were in Dubai last week. So there's quite a bit of friction using credit cards, and foreign credit cards in Singapore. And if I use my UK card or US card, somehow they are okay with it. If I use my Dubai cards, there's some kind of high risk perception or something going on. Crypto guy from Dubai, using a cab in Singapore, it's like 20,
Just want to take
20.
money from
Yeah.
you. Like they look like you're a millionaire or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, but they can take money from me, but why do they want to give me pain? So I think people say that blockchains increase friction, but this seems like a case where blockchain actually reduces friction, right? Because it's in your
Absolutely.
wallet, you want to pay, just pay, right?
Another very good use case like is in Brazil also. Like when you are going to
Yeah.
Brazil, you want to go out and like when you land to Brazil, you want to have spend in Brazilian reals. You can
Right.
actually go out and off ramp USDT into and Pix is connected to Polygon, which means you can simply through USDT in Brazil convert it into a Brazilian dollar and spend it there. So if you go to Brazil on the airports, you will see like the logos of Polygon, which is already there at the airport, and telling
Right.
people you download this app on Polygon, you can get your USDT, and you can spend it anywhere in Brazil. You don't have to worry about Brazilian stablecoin at all.
Wow. Okay. So wait, the conversion is transparent to me. It happens in the background between USDT and Brazilian,
So
or
the way
I actually do the conversion so I know what the FX rate it is, and then I'm actually spending real on. And what does the endpoint look like? Do I have? Sorry, go ahead.
So what you have to do is like you just have to download their app and just load USDT. That's it. And then when you are paying, the merchants are connected via Pix, which is their payment like UPI of
Okay.
Brazil. And then
Yeah.
from there, what will happen is once you pay, the moment you pay, USDT is auto converted into Brazilian reals and paid to the merchant, whoever is like taking the purchase immediately.
So is Pix like UPI? Is it like is it a private company app, or is it like in national infrastructure like UPI in
It's a
India?
national infrastructure. So Pix is like a
Really?
national infrastructure, just like UPI. The only difference between UPI and Pix is UPI's API endpoints are closed, so only a couple of people can access it. Pix is completely
Yeah.
open source, and can plug into it and run their applications.
Have you told this to Nandan Nilekani?
Not yet. Did not get a
Okay.
time, the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I think we need to like cold DM him and say, bro, what's bro, uncle? I think he's more like, well, he's slightly older than me, but maybe another 5 or 6 years, so we can talk to him. Yeah, so I think the Finternet guys, are quite close to Nandan. Nandan sponsored that whole project, so you guys should reach out. If there is anyone who can, change the government's mind on how good this thing is, I don't see anyone else. Right, so you had to, if he gets convinced, then I think he can help you get around that. So that's pretty cool. Okay, sorry. So UPI. What's going on in India? You were in India until what, a few months ago. So why are we not seeing INR stable coins and Polygon's home? Right, we started in India, and Sandeep is such a popular figure over there. Like all the way up to the top of the house, the prime minister's office. One of my friends is, as an IS officer in the prime minister's office. He knows Sandeep. Like, oh yeah, Sandeep. So Sandeep is
Yeah,
a bit of a celebrity figure. So what's going on? Why no INR stable coins, popular
Sandeep is
INR
working.
stable coins on Polygon in India?
Sandeep is working on it. Is all I can say.
Oh yeah. I think he made some sort of a tweet out there saying, I remember that one. Yeah. I mean, okay, good. So all the right people are involved. I'm very happy about it because, I think unless we see, part of the concern for the Indian government is that, and I've spoken to couple of people, right, is that, look, this is all speculative shit, and all they see is pump fund trenches, and okay, I'm streaming on pump fund, so I should be nice, but all they see is like all these meme coins and people losing money every day, and they're like, what's the utility of this? We already have UPI. So I think that this is fantastic. I think if you can say, look, the Brazilians have done this, and this is the benefit. So when I go to India, right, I mean, payments are so streamlined.
Correct.
Like, it's QR code, my bank, mobile to mobile, mobile to bank. It's just seamless. So where do stable coins come in? What can stable coins add to this?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like in India, like retail payments effectively, like there are two things which can work on. One, so all the payments that you look at UPI, though they look instant on the front end, they are settled every 2 hours, 24/7. So none of your UPI happen instantly. And then
Right.
the second thing is that the merchants are settled at the day end. So this is like the one pain point experiment which can be solved where like you can instantly go out and allow the merchant on record to get the money rather than
I
wait
see.
for till the end of the day. But it's like one of the use case. But I think like the biggest use case for INR is not within India but outside India in the cross-border payment, because like in India, since India like INR is not on SWIFT, we technically have to convert all the currency into US dollar and then move money, which adds like two legs of swapping if like your ultimate destination is not US dollar. So that is
Right.
where and on an average in India, like I think I can convert it into INR terms. Like you can save like around 5 lakh crores, 5,000 crores of money just by like replacing the remittance word from the banks to the stable coins. So that is the amount that you can save.
Oh, right. So, got it, got it. So, what's the volume like in Brazil in US dollar terms? Is it $1 billion a day? Is it relatively small at this
So
point?
I don't think it's $1 billion a day, but Brazilian like so the total volume that we have seen in the last 1 year on all the non-USD stable coins is somewhere around 2.5 or $3 billion. I think
A
3.5
day,
billion.
a
No,
day,
overall $2.5 billion. Like these are currency that are coming just like this. So
in a
Brazilian real,
year. That's 3 billion in a year,
yeah, till now.
and
So
that's
it's like
transaction volume.
that's like transaction volume.
Okay, okay, that's still very small, right? I think it's kind of early days, and if
So
what about dollars? Dollars abroad, I think that must be like I think
yeah,
$1 trillion
dollars
or
like I
something, right?
think is somewhere around like last month, last 30 days, Polygon like dollar remittance volume was all the dollar volume was around 70 billion dollars on Polygon one month.
And that's a monthly figure.
Yeah,
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's almost $2.5 billion a day. That's not bad for one chain, given where we are at. Okay.
yes,
I mean, it's obviously not like Tron because Tron's volume comes from inter-exchange transfers like Binance and OKX, whales moving a lot of money, but that's less interesting in some ways, right? I think there's going to be a lot of competition coming from that, from the various other founders doing their own chains.
yes.
But this retail payments use case and kind of is far more interesting. Wow, that's quite a bit of volume. So, what percentage of the market share is that?
That I don't know. I think we are not like that big on a percentage, but it's somewhere around 20, somewhere around 18 to 20%. 18 to 20% of the total volume that is happening across in US dollars. Somewhere like
Okay.
probably around that.
Okay. And what sort of wallet? I'm sorry to I should look this up on maybe DeFi Llama or something. But what's the how many users are using Polygon every day, and what's the geographical distribution? What are the top 5 countries off the top of
1.1
your head? No one will
1.5
sue you if you're off by sorry. Right.
1.5 million like I think 1.5 million active wallets on a like a daily basis and around 5
Wow.
million active on a monthly basis, like 5 million active wallets.
Wow, that's big numbers. That's like okay. I had another joke on Twitter saying right that everyone tried to build their own Ethereum, but only three actually worked. One is CZ's, the other one is Justin Sun's, and the third one is Sandeep's.
Yes,
So well, outside of Ethereum. So like those things have staying power and like retail use, non-casino usage. Casino usage is also pretty good, right? It's a good thing to have, but I think non-casino is what gives you sustainability. It's the same question for Pump Fun. I think Pump Fun will also find out that unless creators go there for and people start going there for content and not necessarily just to hey bro why is your token down so I think this is fantastic for the longevity of, and that's also a message that Wall Street wants to hear, right? So I come from Wall Street, and if somebody went on CNBC and said, "Oh yeah, we have the biggest meme coin casino," I'll be right. Okay, all right, okay, yeah, okay. That's amazing. Sure, I mean we have that on Nasdaq too, but why do we need a blockchain for that? So right, and I think this is kind of the answer. Now, which are the top 5 apps off the top of your head that people are using Polygon POS like similar to Grab through for
yeah,
US
I think
dollar stablecoin?
so. Grab is there, then like in let so that is there. We are waiting for the Geo users to actually come on chain. So that's like around 9 million plus users, which would come in once they like start putting on
What
chain.
is Geo? This is Reliance Geo.
Yeah,
Okay, and these users are in India or are they abroad as well?
pure Indian user
Okay,
base.
9 million users, not so bad. And what about? And they are going to be what US dollar stablecoin users?
No, they'll be like a geocoin user. What is geocoin is like still something that
What
like
is
we are working.
geocoin?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is something we're still working on, exactly like how what geocoin works. I think yesterday I got the mail that their website is live, and I've not yet got time to actually look at it. So I just glanced the number, which was 9 million. So I just told you like the 9 million is there. Then
right.
if you go to, I think in Europe, Revolut is like a big user. So almost 100 million plus is done by
Revolut.
Revolut.
They're huge. So Revolut uses Polygon POS rails.
Yes. So
Oh,
Revolut,
how?
like
Bro, why does no one know about this shit? Sorry. Right. I mean, I should be. I should know about it. I mean, I don't know about other people, but I'm on Twitter 24/7.
waiting for
Huh?
like the official announcement.
Okay. Revolut is big. I mean, the Revolut is what, like a 70, was it $100 billion now?
Yeah, somewhere around like
Valuation. Yeah.
so
So,
Revolut
and
is
they have.
there. Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, Revolut is there, and then like so I'm just like looking at the geography. So from there, then now if you go to the time, like a lot of applications are there, like Mercado Libre, Mercado Bitcoin,
Yeah, they're
then
huge too. They're huge.
yeah,
Right.
Lemon Cash. So Blind Pay. Blind Pay actually started like 3 months back, and they already are doing like 100 million in volume on Polygon. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that volume is coming from there as well. Yes, top five done. I can
Okay.
know.
Okay. Somebody, you got to get Mark or someone to go on CNBC and talk about this stuff, because you guys
Yes,
went from making a lot of announcements to like
announcements.
not
Yeah,
making announcements. So maybe make some announcements again. Right.
we are
Okay.
selecting October for a lot of announcements. So like I think from next week you'll see like a lot of those coming up.
Amazing. Yeah, there was a time, I think there is this meta going around on Twitter that blockchain is only for casino and you got to make a lot of fees from liquidating people or, from trading casino. But hopefully we can, and I don't think that's a multi-trillion-dollar narrative at the end of the day. This
Yes.
potentially is. So, okay. So now, so the cab booking is one thing I heard. Retail payments is the other thing I heard. Are you seeing any industrial, like interbank settlement type of use cases, like not a lot of volume but large amounts, similar to what Tron, whales do? So what you end up with is some very very large transactions, right? And once a transaction you make move $100 million from Binance to OKX.
So one of the partnership that we're trying to announce, I'm trying to send Sandeep literally to the moon, but he's not agreeing to it. He's like, I don't want to go into space. But like that's a big
Yeah, he
announcement that
had a he has such a sweet boy. So yeah, you should you should go, man.
I
Okay,
was.
so what's happening with right?
So I
Okay.
think we just integrated with one of the biggest POS machines in like US, which is
Uh-huh.
like more, I think 200 to 400,000 like outlets. So every airport, everywhere, like you can actually now will be able to buy like next month. You'll be able to just go scan your MetaMask and pay for your food on any of these outlets. So that is happening. We just like so we partnered with an operating system which has like 180 million users. They are building their entire financial day on Polygon, so that is also happening. So what we're doing is we're just waiting for all these to actually go live, rather than say, oh, this is use
Yeah,
Polygon.
yeah, yeah. So that's not crypto tradition. I think back in the day that was not Polygon either, right? So that's a very good change. I think so.
Yes,
Okay, so it's not priced in, is what I'm hearing, which is good.
not right,
I don't
for
like
sure.
things being
But a lot of
priced in.
financial price.
I want alpha, right? So I think we are crypto people. We all want alpha. So this is alpha. That's very cool. Okay, so let's switch a little bit from stable coins to tokenization. Obviously tokenization is everything, but in this context we're talking about securities, like one of our friend Robert Leshner is doing something really big. He soft announced a fundraise announcement. Back in the day I was yeah, so he looks like going for the moon. And then Ondo Finance, I think they're a Polygon partner from back in the day. They announced some tokenized stocks. So there's quite a bit going on in the US. Let's focus on the US for a bit, because that's where currently a lot of the money is, and the regulation is very favorable, so things are moving quite quickly. So tokenized securities, tokenized real estate, tokenized, as the joke goes, your mama or potatoes or whatever else. So what's going on Polygon with all that stuff?
Yeah, I think like overall we crossed like $1 billion mark on the total RWAs on Polygon. The way we are looking at RWAs, like it is not just US, it is global. But like of course, like most of the volume is still like from the US, which is like money market funds. There are a couple of other like financial assets that are coming in. Tokenized securities, I'm yet not bullish on. So like I have tried to kind of not. So we have had back like a year back, we had like these tokenized stocks on Polygon, but like I still don't feel like they would be they are like ready for prime time. uh, it's a lot more contrarian to a lot of people who are like going in and like announcing tokenized stocks. So the major reason being like I feel anyone who wanted to buy Apple stock, until unless he's in North Korea, is already has access to it, and there is nothing else that you're like giving access to which people don't have access to. So does not like this does not is not something which is like a problem that needs to be solved right now. Yeah, there could be like US non-US stocks that could be brought to US. That is something that should be solved, but nobody's doing that. So that is like a very contrarian view to like a lot of people saying tokenized stocks like they are like really good. We should have it, like have them. But apart from that, like the other thing that is happening is like we are um, all the other stocks like commodities. So there's a lot of commodity also on Polygon, almost like 400 to 500 million dollars worth of commodities being traded on Polygon on a daily basis. Then there is a lot of bonds getting issued in Europe. So around 400 million plus bonds are issued in Europe. Then uh, apart from money market fund, there is other like cash and carry funds like euro bonds, euro money market funds. Then we just like are about to announce a lot more in the Asia side, a lot of bonds and bonds issuances, a lot of money market funds coming on chain. So all those things cumulatively, I think that is where I'm more bullish on FX and commodities than like saying that I'm like super bullish on like being tokenized stocks right now.
I think part of the reason everyone is suddenly bullish on tokenized stocks is because SEC is Paul Atkins, the SEC chair, and I think Hester Pierce made some very favorable noises. Securitize kind of moved the discussion forward by allowing native issuance. They're getting some policy and regulatory changes done, which is quite remarkable. Superstate did this thing on Solana with I think there was Galaxy stock being natively issued and traded. So there is an Ondo, I think, did some stuff. So there is quite a bit of excitement because the volume of stocks equities trading is so large that people are at some point we are all looking to fill our blockchains with transactions, right?
Yeah, but you know
So
what? Like FX is much bigger than like your stock markets.
FX is gigantic. I mean, it's give me an idea of the comparison between these. How much bigger are we talking about?
FX is almost like if you look at all the futures contract as well, FX is like almost 8 to 10 times more bigger than like the total equity market.
Yeah, yeah. So and FX is also very volume intensive because people go back and forth all day.
Correct. So
Yeah,
that's why I'm like more bullish on FX than like tokenized stocks, because FX is something like in India you cannot go out and trade in currencies, but you can always hold all the US stocks. So that is true for a lot more nations. So currencies on chain, you wanting to bet on those currencies, having a perp on those currencies, that is something they're working on right now. But like effectively, that would be a much bigger market. And the good thing is, nobody's talking about it. Everyone is like, we want to get tokenized stocks, and I'm like, yeah,
yeah. So VCs are always chasing the latest meta, right? I'm one of them. So there is always like, oh, what's hot, and what has attention. There's always attention as opposed to, I mean, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It is what it is. So the joke goes that Toli wants to build decentralized Nasdaq. What's actually going on is that we are trading tokens now on centralized Nasdaq with all these digital asset treasuries and ETFs and whatnot, and there is very little bid for anything on, let's say, crypto exchanges. But okay, but I think the stable coins and payments use case, especially in a cross border context, is clearly set up so that naturally connects to FX, right? I mean, if you're going to have, remember when Ripple used to try to pitch XRP as this translation currency between all FX and therefore create demand for XRP? I don't know. It didn't really go that well.
oh,
It's
funny
still a
thing
thing
about
that
it, they still do it that way only. Like
there's still.
the way the way
Of course they
USDT and
do.
Ripple is like, yeah, through a DEX where effectively when you're trading on Ripple, it converts to XRP, does the transaction
Yeah.
on XRP, converts back to USDC and goes to you.
Of course it does. Of course it does, right? I mean, once Of course it does. I think people wanted to do that with Bitcoin. Obviously, that's not a good idea. And thankfully, we never tried to do that with
Yeah.
Ethereum. Okay, so yeah, no, I mean, with all due respect to, I think what the Ripple guys are trying to do, and then Chainlink have a more API-oriented structure, which is how kind of fintech
Yeah.
works. And then people start asking, okay, so what does really Chainlink add to the process? Because where's the crypto in this, right? It's a bunch of APIs and whatnot. I mean, I'm sure the Marines will not be happy with this, but there are multiple views on it. But I think if we just use blockchains as settlement layer, and sort of transaction layers for what they're good at, right? Moving assets from one, it's like ledgers, right? So then I think FX is a natural overlay. So which are the coolest projects off the top of your head? I mean, you don't upset people by not mentioning them, but obviously you can't mention everybody because there are so many people building on Polygon. So what are give us a list of cool projects that
I
are
mean,
building on Polygon.
like Polymarket has been the biggest one. Courtyard has been the second biggest. Like
Yeah.
now, everyone is talking about Pikachu's. We have been talking about Pikachu's for more than a year, but like so, Polygon.
Yeah. So I think there was this token that really went off on Solana, some collector crypt
Yeah,
thing, and everyone was talking about it because the token pumped, not because of volume or like whatnot. I think there was a bunch of revenue for
yeah.
a week or 2 weeks. So why is okay? So Courtyard. How is Courtyard big?
Courtyard is super big. Like though, so the if you look at the numbers of NFT, like why is Polygon in the top three? Like is because of Courtyard. Like if you open OpenSea, like almost every day they are at number one. So most of the
Got it.
like so that is how big they are, like the number of trades. People actually store Courtyard like cards on in Brinks also, like Brinks where you actually go and store your gold. So that is how like people are like crazy about, I think, Pokemon. I am also there as one of those.
Right.
I think that
Yeah, I never grew up with Pokemon, but okay. Wow. Okay. We need a Pumpy token for this because I stream on Pump Fun, and the only thing anyone ever asks me about is, bro, why is token down? So they never ask me, okay, about any of the topics that I might
I think
be
someone launched a
interested in.
token, Pika,
So
Pika, Pika, which was I think on universal,
okay.
like this was someone from India. I think they wanted to kind of go out and pump the token and buy a lot of Pokemon collectibles. So they have been doing that. I don't know where it is, but like yeah, when someone like they shared it with me, I actually got into it, but not a financial advice at all.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm going to do is look at whether Courtyard has a token. Right. So much time on Pump Fun, I have become a bit attuned to looking for a CA every time. I think if someone mentioned my mom's name, I'd be like, "Mom, what's the CA?" So, so yeah, please ask Courtyard guys to make a nice CA, right? So we can all ape it.
So the big
Uh,
are like beyond like payments and like real world assets, then payments. I think a massive shout out is like on the Latam side, with a lot of like partners that we have been doing the Colombian pesos, right? Like like in 3 months doing 100 million is like a very big milestone. Checker is there. Then like for RWAs, Cashlink is there. Tokeny is there. Yeah, I'm 100% sure I'm missing like 50 or plus projects, but these are majorly like payments and RWA projects as well.
Right. So okay, now I think so. One of the so how so let's say I'm a young founder, right, based in maybe Bay Area, maybe Brazil or Sao Paulo, or Singapore. Now, if I want to build on Polygon, and I have like an app or some interesting protocol or some infrastructure idea. So if I have an app, I think that's where the infra has matured a lot. So Polygon, I think, used to get a lot of shit for reorgs, and I haven't seen any of that, right? I think there was one reboot which is quite understandable given how quickly it's improved. But it's just been so much better. I don't see like this reorg noise that used to go around, right? And I think a lot of dexes used to complain about it. And so what happened? What fixed it? That's the first question. The second question is, if I'm a builder, I want to build a fintech payments RWA category app or project on Polygon. where do I get started?
Got it. I think to answer like your tech side, I think last hard fork actually made Polygon deterministic finality, which means there cannot be more than two block reorgs at all. So that is one. Then we just like 3 days back we did a Rio upgrade hard fork on the testnet. What does that entail is that it enables and like it enables for like block production to be not a part of like the block like the entire validation from the validators, which effectively means that we can now issue precons very fast, which means like, could go like 100 200 300 microseconds, whatever we want to do it after this
Mhm.
upgrade is possible. That is possible. And then like that is another thing which is happening. So we are going towards like yesterday we were seeing like we increased the TPS to like around 1000 transactions per second, and we are already like touching sometimes around 50% capacity. So end of the year or early next year we'll reach around 5000, which means that we have enough space. You don't need to go to another blockchain to go out and say, oh, like there's not block space available. So that is on the side of like the tech upgrades. Moving on to like
Right.
how you can connect. Like I think you all. So that I would categorize into three things. One, someone who has an idea. So I think on the Polygon page there is Talk to Our Develop team, which effectively is like trying to go out and help a lot of people who are just starting up to go
Yeah.
and have those things. The second is if you are like already, then like we also have like an intake form, which like if you're not able to reach out to us, you can go out
You
and
got to
fill it.
fix that Wi-Fi.
Is it fine now?
Mine.
I can hear you very well.
Okay, I should probably be using LAN next time.
Yeah. So I think that is the second, the form, and the third is like you can directly reach out to us and tell us like what you're building. The good thing is like all of us like in my team are like 14 people, and all these 14 people are very well versed with payments RWA. We can always help you out to build your business, to get you funding, to go out and connect you across the world, to help you like, work with your product, all those things.
Right. Okay. So the best place to start is on the Discord, or and what sort of programs does Polygon have? Like, do you guys have grants? Is there a fund? Do you connect people with the? I think I know one answer to this question, which is kind of my job. But so what sort of programs do you have in
I was
place
about
to
to
help
ask
founders succeed on
I was
Polygon?
about to ask why are you asking me like your job
No,
profile?
no, no. But there are like a few things which I'm not involved in, right? So I only do
So
one thing, and that's a
yeah,
little
I
bit
think
later in the pipe.
on the grand side, call me the villain, but I like pushed everyone to stop grants completely.
Very
There is
cool.
no
Yeah,
Polygon, uh, and
yeah. No farming. So no farming, no grant farming.
yeah, you cannot grant farm here. The reason being like I think this was my thesis, and probably like you would agree to it if I tell you that you give someone a grant. If they fail, that money is gone. If they win, then they come back and say, okay, this other chain because we won is giving us so much more money. Do you want to give us more money or we leave? So
Yeah, it's a bitch, right? So yeah, it's a bit
there is
of
no
a
point.
shitty situation. Yeah,
So rather than like
yeah,
what we
yeah,
do
yeah.
at the side of like if you kind of are going and doing something really good, we would retrospectively kind of go out and reward. That is one thing. The other is investments. The third is like providing liquidity. So these are the three things that we do.
Got it. So, right. I mean, grants are interesting, right? So, I think what I had suggested 2.5 years ago was that its grant should be convertible into venture investments. Let's say, okay, so you get a grant, and this is what happened with Succinct, right? So, their first 400K grant was from Gnosis, and then when they raised money from Paradigm, Gnosis got nothing out of it. So, they started doing these convertible grants. I know too many stories. Sorry, I'm like an industry insider, right? So then they say started doing convertible grants where if you get a grant, but if you raise money from VCs, then their grant converts to equity. It's a bit involved from a legal standpoint, but that's a much better way of doing grants than and then obviously milestone grants. But then it's a lot of work to manage milestones, and milestones are rarely hit, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like chasing people. What are you going to do? So another story for you around grants. So back in the day at Consensus, Joe is one of the most generous people I've seen on supporting builder side and back in the day, and it's like he gave $6 million to this team that was building a DEX before they were all these DEX were so popular, right? This is when Zero Swap, what's the thing, Zero X kind of started, and these guys took the money, ran off to Bermuda, and then when we said, bro, what's going on? Where is the how far along? Where, can we see the GitHub? They said, hey, you're bothering us. We're gonna sue you, and they sent us a lovely letter. So anyway, so grants, yeah, I'm not huge on grants. I think there is a time, and Polygon is already quite a, you do it initially bootstrap, fine, but Polygon has so many users, and so such a fantastic brand, right? Especially, I think the US brand is incredible. So even when when the Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary announced where they're going to publish GDP, I was like, oh, Polygon, and it's like, okay, Polygon, right? I mean, and you're like, bro, then when number reflect that, that's a whole other question. I think I'm spending too much time on pump, so I always think about the number. They'll come through. There's some alpha there, but yeah. So I think that's quite remarkable. Anyway, so there is this. What's happening with the community treasuries board? This thing is still going on.
So yeah, I think like community treasury board still goes on, but this like now they can only go out and either invest or they can provide
Okay.
liquidity.
So they can invest, right? So okay, so that's a source of funding. I like investing as a much better source of funding than grants. I mean, grants, early days fine, some public good stuff, but there is nothing like public goods, right? ENS was public goods, and they did a $4-5 billion token. Did Ethereum Foundation get anything out of it? Not really, right? So I mean, and then bankless Magia or whatnot. I'm not going to go there, but yeah. So this grant shit doesn't really work. There's no such thing as public goods. Paradigm used to do public goods. Now they're doing a okay, I don't want to rant all day, right? I think now some of the public goods have multi-billion-dollar tokens. There's no such thing as public goods. Only Geth is probably the only public good I remember. Or everything is a public good, right? Like Aave is a public good, Ethereum is a public good, Solana is a public good, so on and so forth. So, yeah, okay. So no grants. I like it. I think investments. I love it. I think because founders also prefer, at least the good founders prefer, to have strong long-term aligned backers, and not, oh yeah, we gave you cash and now what do you do, right? Okay, so community treasury is doing investments and partnerships type of work. That's amazing. Hadron, I think it's a little bit selective and later down the pipe. So Hadron, we kind of do a lot of work with the founders on, but this is an area I think that's worth focusing on. That's what I got from this conversation. So we do later stage support for founders, once like GTM. Now I think Vineet is doing something very interesting with FTV. There is like downstream support when you are already a founder, you know what you're doing. And then, with select founders, we provide all kinds of support, not just, people who need things other than money, right? That's Hadron. And what else is there? I mean, there is Sandeep, of course. What else is there?
What else is there? I think that's pretty much it. That we have.
That's pretty much it. And it's all online. There is an SDK. I can just do npm Ashwarya, and it starts. It downloads everything, pip install, and everything is ready to go. All the JavaScript is there. Is that how it works now? What's the SDK API? Where are you on the developer roadmap?
On the side of SDK of like Aglev?
Yeah, and like payments, fintech. Is there a specific tool set for people who are building RWA payment stablecoins?
So for the payment side, that is where like I think John would kind of come in and help a lot. I think we need to kind of want to design some of those applications and SDKs which like are readily can be adopted by anyone. So plug and play and just go out and do like whatever you want, make revenue day one, don't worry about it. So all that is now starting to get built. But like Agler SDK, I think is almost there. It's about to be launched as far as I know. But yeah, that is where we are on the
so what's cool, I think one thing that a lot of people were surprised about, because on Twitter we hear, okay, Solana has all the payments, and Ethereum has all the payments, and Base has all the payments, and Stripe chain is going to kill everyone, and then the guy from Stripe joins Polygon. So he clearly knows something that crypto Twitter doesn't know, because crypto Twitter, I spend a lot of time in it. I'm retarded. I know crypto Twitter is retarded. So, it's a feature and a bug. So yeah, so that was a bit of a, so that surprised even me, right? I mean, was like, okay, what's he doing here? And so he clearly knows something, crypto Twitter doesn't. What is it? I think you already said a bunch of things that,
Yeah, I think
yeah. What does he
we
know? What does he know?
probably something else, some alpha to be left for the next time I come in.
Yeah. I'm waiting for more alpha from both you, John. I think you've done an extraordinary job. Ashwar, you're one of the doers, right? And I know we've had some conversations, and but yeah, you're not one of the yappers. You just sit down and get shit done. And people in the industry who know, like, if you ask Naresh and a bunch of other guys, I also don't fight with Luigi. He's a friend of mine. So
I was looking forward to that. I just,
yeah, you guys will both be grounded. So,
I just landed at the airport and my baggage was not coming in. So I said, okay, let's do something.
yeah. I think things have changed a lot, right? I think they're trying to do a bunch of stuff, and John Wu comes from securities markets. He's a phenomenal guy. You guys are doing an incredible job on payments. So there is quite a lot to be done, I think, together as well. So yeah. So I think they're doing some cool stuff now with private equity. I know Polygon has one of the first Apollo tokenization projects with Securitize. Hamilton Lane was on there, is still on there. I think there's like still 20-30 million of TVL and Morpho that's like unlooped. This Apollo accred.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a lot of cool stuff on the tokenization side. I think that, and especially now Mark is in the US. There's a lot of cool people. John is there. And I think on the with
It's like doing really
it
well.
is,
One of the things
yeah.
that like we don't like, I often don't mention, like most of the things that you feel like I am doing like is the team, and like it's like a complete new team which is effectively in the business development side. This new blood
Mhm.
who is working 14 hours a day. So I'm not the only one who is like kind of saying that I
No,
work.
no, but I think what's cool about you is that you are one of the in the age of yapping, right? And I'm one of the yappers. I love to yap. I've worked so hard for so long, and last couple of years I've enjoyed yapping, right? But I think you're one of the doers, and I think it's really great to have people like you talk about the work you're doing. And thank you for joining today. I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll have more alpha. So please make some cool announcements. I hold a bunch of poll, so hopefully, yeah. I mean, this is clearly far more valuable, and yeah, don't be too shy about it. I think the
Okay.
don't be too shy about it, and I think we
Next time,
should we
before
should
that,
chill a bit more. Yeah, we
before
should
I
definitely chill a. Sorry, go ahead.
before that I meet you next time in office, I'll do an announcement and then I'll meet you.
Yeah. I mean, let's come home. Let's have dosa, right? I think this is the Vitalik dosa.
Done.
So yeah, great to see you, buddy. Take care. Thank you so much for joining. I learned a lot from you.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.